Just testing something, so if anyone comes on here, I'm just trying to see if this works. Go with switch account. Ergonomics. Oh wow, someone's already on here. That was fast. I don't know who just turned on. I'm testing something here. I'm trying to see if this is gonna work or not. I'm trying to see if I can get into this stream using my laptop. If this is gonna work or not. I'm trying to see
wow.
if I can get into this stream. That's interesting. My laptop, this is gonna work or not. I'm trying to see
wow.
if I can get into this stream.
So
that's interesting. My laptop.
Okay, so for me to do this, this is hard. I'm gonna have to mute that. There we go. So I don't know who's there right now. I'm trying to set everything up. I'm going to guess that it's my wife, but I don't know. Let's see, who is here? Hey there, Jester! So I plan on doing a live stream tonight. Give me a moment. I wasn't expecting this to work. I may have to just delete the title of this. Well, you're not... I mean, it says 2, but I have 3 likes and I don't know how. I literally do not know how I have 3 likes and there's only 2 people watching. So just give me a moment. I'm trying to set everything up. They had to fix my not the APU, but my power inverter. My power inverter went dead, and I need that for the laptop. So, how you doing, Jester? Caterpillar? No, I don't have a cat. There we go. It works. All right. So, wow. I just lost my other connection there, and I can't use both. So, this is kind of like my pre-show, I guess. I was planning on streaming. Let me see if I can share this to people on Telegram while setting this up. Take that off. Time to get mic'd up. If you want good sound on one of these, you gotta have at least a good microphone, and I've got a lav right here. So let me plug that in right there. You can all see I am now wired for sound, and it's actually pretty hidden. That's right, it's on this side. No, same ones I've had. Well, I've had these for a few years. They might be new to you. To me, they're not. They're broken frames. I have to get a new pair at some point. My hair is too dang long. My hair is absolutely too long. So, I'm going to see if this works. And if you're wondering, okay, you asked about this. You're asking about that? Shut up, I'm not. No.
So you're asking about this? My wife wanted me to have one. Don't ask me why. She apparently likes these, and I'm giving it the shot for her. So, we'll see. I'll remove that pinned message. All right, so let me get some other people. So there we go. This is actually the first time I've actually, that was great wordplay. This is the first time I've been able to do one of these before nightfall. And that was just because of where I'm at. So. By the way, Jester, if you're still there, if you type it onto this, I can read it there, but right now I'm just doing two things at once. So that's the only reason why I seem distracted right now. All right. There we go. I was going to attempt to do this with the laptop, but I don't think that would have worked too well. So, welcome to the Rolling Red Studios. That's what I call my truck, the Rolling Red Studio, which honestly isn't that bad. It's actually, this one I believe is called a condo in terms of the parlance out here on how big this truck is and everything, because it's actually a good size. Yeah, there you are. Hey, Russ, how you doing? You like that name, Rolling Red Studio? There we go. Just trying to put some links out there, so. Nature what? Yeah, Russ, my dad's done that a couple times. Of course, one of the times he actually had to do that was because the steering wheel came off of it. I'm not making that up. He was riding it. He was backing up toward the ditch, and the steering wheel popped off and right into the ditch with it. It was an old riding mower. He put it back on, but they got a new one shortly after that. Oh. Yeah, so I'm actually able to do something else now. I'm waiting to see how long that takes. No. Surf FA. No. I actually can type on here if this thing will send the links over. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure the exact temperature. It's been extremely hot today, but I mean, this is Dallas, so it's no wonder if it's actually hot. It's probably been in the 90s today here in Dallas. Russ, I'm guessing for you down in Houston, it might be a little warmer or a little bit slightly cooler, maybe by a degree or so. But you're not by the coast, so it's probably going to be warmer there than it is here. And it's starting to cool off because it's actually starting to get a little cooler. I'm going to actually flip the camera here, and this is actually the view from outside my truck. That's actually the front windshield right there. This is our yard here in Dallas. Actually, it's not Dallas proper. This is Grand Prairie, and it was just over there. If you look at the fourth, if you go from the right side, it's the fourth door. Excuse me, if you go from left to right, it's the fourth door. My truck was just there, and it was having to get repairs done. So, and as you saw, that was one of our drivers. If you look, that last part you can see with the yellow poles out front, the big door with the big garage door in front, that's actually the wash bay. It's an automatic wash. Let me turn, and ooh, he's got himself one of the brand new Cascadias right there, and it is clean. See the water dripping off of it. Ooh, yeah, that's a little bit warm over there, Jester. So while I have you all here, I know both of you have already, liked and subscribed to this, channel. Jester, I know you've already liked this live stream. Russ, why don't you go ahead and do it too? Just add another like to this. That they actually work. These things actually do good. But I want to give you the link to another one of my channels that eventually this will go over to. Let me flip that back. It's the Truckonomics channel. Let me get the link to that. Yeah, Truckonomics is actually my new channel that I've started. The reason I started it... Oh, you already have it? Oh, okay, cool. Because I've only got like 7 or 8 subscribers on there, and some of them are probably clones of myself. When you have this many accounts like I do, it's easy to flip them around. But I'm gonna put that link in just a second, once I've got it. Oh, wrong one. My God, this internet here, I mean, granted, I am, using my company's internet to do this, but hey, it's not a big deal, I don't think. There it is. That's going to take me off of it, but that's fine. I just want to get this and back. So I'm working my magic here, trying to get a couple things done. So I honestly, I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about to start with here. That's the new link, by the way. And unfortunately, it's the long link. So, you don't like it, Russ? Oh, dang it. Do I have to do something with the settings on this? I may have to switch those. I may have to afterward. So I'm trying to figure this out. All right. So I guess what I'm going to start off with, I always like to start with a story of some sort, and today's going to be no different than that. I think I'm going to start this one off. Yeah, I think I'm going to start off with pretty much, it was the last race I ever ran as a cross-country runner. And this one would have been in 1994. I was 14 at the time, freshman in high school. I had already been running most of the year. Yeah, well, at least most of that semester. They had actually recruited me before I even got to the school. One of their juniors, a guy by the name of Barry Larkin, was calling people, going, "Hey, we're recruiting for the cross country team. Would you like to join? Would you like to show up?" And I figured, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, let's do that." Oh, there we go. Now I can see all of you. I've got a way to see all of you now. Anyway, I had been running all year, and I can tell you right now, I was not a strong runner. I was not a fast runner. I was the slowest on the team. And that I say that without any shame at all, because I had never done any competition running at all, being a freshman. In fact, our school was so small with the cross-country team, we had, I think, 2 senior, for the men's team, there were 2 seniors, I think 1 or 2 juniors, a couple of sophomores, and then at the beginning of the year, there were 3 freshmen. Then one of them had an accident with an axe to his big toe. I'm not making that up. That's how he wasn't able to run that year. And then there was one other guy. So it boiled down to 2 freshmen, and the rest were upperclassmen. But I think we had a total of like 10 people. We had enough for at least one full team to run during most events. But the JV usually didn't have enough people. And since I was a freshman, guess where I went? So, oh, no, shoot. It hit the mic. If I had some better equipment, I'd get a shotgun mic for this, or get a camera and put a shotgun mic on it, because that could go about the same does, and it would probably give me better sound quality for this and not have a cable attached to it. But I digress. Anyway, we started that year, and the first race I was in, it was all county meet, and it was on a golf course. It had been raining all day, and I mean, there was one giant puddle that was on it that, at this point, it could have turned into a triathlon with how much you would have had to swim through. But, where did Jester go? Anyway, this will be in the replay. So, we're out there, and I caught up with, one other kid from another team, another freshman from the Naples high school team, and we lost sight of where the course was. I mean, the course was that badly marked that you couldn't tell where it was. So by the end of the race, we were sort of walking, trying to figure out where we were at, and it was on a giant golf course, which they could have easily marked, but apparently they didn't want to. Fast a few races, and I wasn't really doing much better. Then I got to probably the low point, which was I went to this one race and I couldn't finish it. It was just feeling bad. And I was feeling sick from that night, probably from what I ate the night before. I didn't know anything about, nutrition for fitness and anything like that. 14-year-old that was trying to do this stuff. So, I didn't finish. I went 2 laps, and I still had one more. Basically, we had 3 miles we had to run, and I finished 2 miles. Couldn't do the next one. Well, the next race I sat out, and that's because I didn't know we had one. I was told, "Hey, there's another race. Are you coming?" And I didn't even know it was on the schedule, and I said, "No, I'm out for this one," because I didn't have any of my gear. I didn't even know where I was going. And they went off and did this race at, I think it was Bishop Verot is where they went to, or Estera, one of the two. So they go up and do that. Next week, I get back into it. And this time, it was some school out in the, I think it was out either the Boca Raton area, or we were over on the west. See, my school was on the west coast of Florida. We had to go to the East Coast for most of our meets. So we go over to this East Coast meet, and this is the first time that there were a lot of people running. There had to be about, 100 to 200 people. Had never had that many, and I had already started to learn what to do out there. The coach is helping me out, the upperclassmen are helping me out, trying to, get me to actually be doing better on this. And as we did our practice and we're getting lined up, I'm hearing all these other people talking. They all look like they're more fit than I am. I mean, I know what I looked like. I was, at the time, maybe about 5'4", 5'5", and way thinner than I am now. Probably about 110 pounds, if that. So I'm thin as anything, small, and look like they're bigger than I am. And I'm hearing them go, yeah, how many races do you run? No, this is my first heat. And I'm like, okay, I'm just keeping this to myself because I don't want them to know that I've run before. It's none of their business anyway. And I'm actually in a cross-country uniform, And if you've ever seen those things, boy, they make the clothes at strip clubs look like they're revealing. These were the smallest things I'd ever worn in my life. But they're lightweight. So, anyway, I'm lined up. We're ready to go. We've got our numbers on, whatever we need. And the way the course started, we had to go around this one grass clearing to start, and then go across a very, very narrow bridge. This bridge was maybe 2 to 3 feet people across at most. So most of us were going across at single file. Now, when you're doing a cross-country race, you're sprinting to start, at least for the first 50 to 100 yards. Why do we do that? I don't know. No one really explained it to me. Even in all of our training, they're like, just sprint at the beginning and then get to your pace. By the way, thank you for all of you that have joined. If you like this, be sure to hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button as well. It helps our channel, helps us grow, and helps us get more people. Anyway, we start going through, and I'm past people within the first 50 yards. That's happened before. I'm not a sprinter. And if what I'm thinking I'm going to find out soon from a doctor, I may actually have a heart defect that I was born with. So I'm beating people that I have a heart defect that I don't even know about. So I start running, and Jester, you already know about the heart defect. I've told you about it, and I think, Russ, I've told you about it as well, because I've told some people about it. So I'm running through, and I'm passing a bunch of people. And I'm getting further and further along in the race. And the other freshman that's with us, a guy named Will, and he was a ginger. Best way to describe him, he was a ginger. Running along with us, and we're on the second lap. We have one lap to go. And he's telling me on this second lap, I'm just going to quit. I can't keep running. I'm going to quit now. I'm going to quit when we get to the end. I'm like, why? You're doing fine. Just keep going. And he's like, no, I'm gonna quit. I wish he hadn't, and you'll see why in a sec. Because he gets to that, and I'm still going, but now I don't have anyone to pace with. I have no way to gauge how fast I'm going, how slow I'm going. There was one other competitor that was behind me, and I had passed him, and it took me a while to pass him. But now, again, no one to gauge, and Will was the only person in the freshmen that I could keep pace with. So I was trying to keep pace with somebody. It was the first time I'd ever caught him in a race, and he quits. Run through the last of the race, and I get to the end. Before I even get there, remember I told you about the guy that recruited me, a kid named Barry Larkin, the junior? Comes running out, spins me around, and looks, and he goes, look at that, that's a first. And there's people behind me. I'm like, what the hell? I've actually passed people? I don't know how many I passed. I get to our coach and I ask him, and I'm out of breath. Every time when you're on one of these races, you're out of breath at the end. I'm like, Coach, what do I do to improve my time? He's like, you just did it. I'm like, okay, but what else? He's like, and that's when they told me, when Will quit, my speed dropped down. And that was exactly why. It was because I didn't have anyone to pace off of. So losing the one advantage I had, which was another teammate with me, probably lost me maybe another minute or so on my time. And it probably cost me the one guy that did pass me. Because he eventually did pass me again. So, fast forward, I don't know, probably about a month or so. And we get to the last race of the year. And this is the all-county meet. Now remember, the whole thing started with an all-county meet for me. So we're at the end of it now. We get out there and we're at Barron Collier High School. And I'd been to this school before, not as a student, but football games. My father, when he worked as a youth relations officer for Immokalee High School, he went out there for one or two games over at Barron Collier High School. And of course, hey, it's Friday Night Lights, let's go watch football. I have no problem with that. So we go and watch a football game. And yes, Jester, I mean American football. So they show us the course. And we had already done one race out there earlier that year. I forget where I placed. It wasn't that good. But I remembered this one kid was still out there. And I remembered seeing him. And I had asked people about him. And they're like, oh yeah, him? Yeah, he always just runs the same pace. So I'm like, okay, interesting. Start off the race. Let me back up again. This was the first race that my father actually showed up to. Because for the most part for that year, he didn't show up to any of the races. My mother had showed up to two of them. She had showed up to the first Barron Collier meet, and she showed up to the one at the golf course. But that last one, that was the one where my father showed up as well. And so I know he's in the stands. Don't know where. I'm not looking for him. But we all line up, sprint off at the sound of the starting pistol, which is just a cap gun. Start going. And as I'm running along, I'm kind of keeping pace, and I actually stayed with the sprint a bit longer at that point than I did most of the year. But once you get past a certain point, that's when everyone starts to break off from the pack and it starts to spread out. The reason is because everyone starts to get to their pace that they're going to run. Well, I got to my pace real quick and it starts spreading out, and I'm a distance back, but I'm still running faster than I had all year. I don't even remember what my pace was that year, what my pace was that race. But so I'm running it, and I can see the guy in the distance that I'm going after. And I just keep going, and you had to run down, you had to come out of the, where their football field was off of the track, go down around some of one of their parking lots by the front of the school and some of their portable buildings, come back around to the front, go around to the back side of the football field, because there was a road that was back there, make a turn right by where they had all of the buses. There was a giant bus facility that was right there. You run down that, and in the back there's this big pond. It's this big water retention pond. And you had to run along the back of it, come back up, and then you would go back into the stadium. And as you come back into the stadium, you'd run along the track all the way till you got to the right behind the goalpost, and run straight through. So I'm starting to catch him, but it's gonna take a while because I don't have a second gear on this. I haven't, even though I've improved, I haven't figured out how to get to that next gear to run faster. I just couldn't do it. But I'm still gaining on him, and I'm getting closer and closer to him, and I'm getting near him. Now, at this point, I'm hearing people crossing the finish line because I can, at this point, I'm behind the stadium and I'm behind the bleachers where all of the people are at for it. So I'm hearing them cheering on, so I know people are finishing. And I catch up to him, and I actually pass this guy. But as soon as I do it, I about threw up. I mean, literally, I stopped and dry heaved. I'm not making this up. And I hear from over everything going on, "No, don't stop!" Now, I know the voice. I know exactly who's yelling. It's my dad up in the stands. I'm like, okay. That gives me a little bit of motivation to keep going. And I start going, and I pass this kid. I get past, we get to the front of the stadium, and I'm just still, I mean, I can hear all of the, at this point, I can hear the crowd. Now, I don't know if there's anyone else behind me and this kid. To be honest with you, I don't know. And I really have no clue. I start running around the track, and as I get to the back, I get to about to the end of it. And again, we have to go down the football field, and it's probably about, 50 yards at this point. And I just give it everything I got and just sprinted all the way through to the end. Honestly, it was probably the most tired I'd ever been at the end of any of the races. But it was probably the best one I had ever had because I had actually beat the one kid. I mean, I sucked as a runner. I can tell you that right now. But I still could do it. So, what are you beeping your... Oh, are you backing up? Sorry, there's a guy, one of the... That's not a guy. Another truck driver backing in to try and back up to the dock. So, moral of that story is, doesn't really matter how bad you are at anything. I had fun with what I was doing. And I was getting better with what I was doing too. That light doesn't work. Maybe this will work better. There we go. You just gotta find your own way to do it. And I didn't get any trophies or anything for it. To me, I knew I probably wasn't going to that entire year. I mean, especially after the first race. I mean, when you already know you're the slowest on the team, at this point you're just doing it for improvement. You're just doing it for your own self. And I carried that. And it was something that I carried with me for years, the fact that I did cross country, that I learned a lot of it. And it actually helped me later on when I joined the Army. You have a PT test, and you have to do it twice a year, every 6 months, or whenever the company commander wants you to do it. And there's 3 events: push-ups, sit-ups, and the 2. Keep in mind, I ran 3 miles in cross country. This is only 2 miles. I'll take it. Basic training, they had, honestly, probably one of the best tracks I'd ever been on. It was this light gravel track, and it was little pebble-sized ones, but it had a lot of bounce to it. And that, to me, is great because it gives you a little bit more of a push. Well, we had to do 3 PT tests by the time we finished basic training. And the first 2 weren't record PT tests. It was the last one that was important. So, as long as you were improving and staying within the area they needed you to pass them, you were good. Well, I mean, I never had a problem with the push-ups or sit-ups, and I always passed the run, even while I was doing it. But they always kept the times going up. You had to get a better time. But I had somebody I could pace off of. We had this one guy that was out there, and we actually called him Ralphie from A Christmas Story, because he looked exactly like him. I mean, even down to the glasses, short kid. But he was our PT star. I mean, no one was going to beat him. He could do push-ups and sit-ups like nobody's business, and when it came to the run, I could tell how good I was doing by what lap he actually lapped me on. We had to do it, I'm thinking it was 5 laps maybe. It was like 5 or 6 laps, and whichever lap he lapped me on told me what pace I was at and whether I was doing any better. That last one, he didn't pass me until the last lap, so I was doing pretty good. But that was some of the stuff that I learned in cross country helped me because I knew how to pace myself. I knew how to, figure out what my stride was going to be and also the ending of it. Most people just think, just keep going your pace and come across. No. When you get close and see that finish line, you give it everything you've got to end it. Matter of fact, one of the PT tests, I got to make the company, the senior drill sergeant look like an idiot afterward. He didn't know it for about a day or two. When I was at Fort Huachuca trying to become an intel analyst, we were going for our first record PT test there. And you had to do it to get what was called these phase badges. Now, we were trying to get the phase 5+. Oh, no, he didn't. And I'll explain why, because he didn't know I was able to best him on it. Not until like a day or two later. So, we were trying to get these phase badges, and the one that I was trying to get was the phase 5+. I already had the phase 5 badge. Phase 5+ was what everyone wanted because that would give you the ability to go off post on the weekends and also to drink. I don't know many soldiers that were going to stay home once they got that pass. My platoon was called the Wolf Pack at the beginning of our first phase 5+ weekend. By the end of it, we were called the 12 Pack. So that can give you an idea. We had a lot of drunks. But I digress. Anyway, we go up for this PT test. Now, I'm sick. I already know I'm sick. And most of the barracks is starting to get sick at this point. Any of you watching this, if you're ever thinking of joining the military, I will tell you this right now. You are going to get sick. It's just a matter of how many times you do during basic training and whatever final training you have. When you go to basic training, you're going to get sick from all the people that you don't know before that are there at that basic training base. You're going to get sick from them. When you go to AIT, like I did, anybody that comes in from any other base, you don't know any of them. So when they come in, you're going to get sick yet again. And what happened was, my AIT, we had 2 bases that were the ones that were providing the soldiers for it. Fort Jackson, where I went, and Fort Leonard Wood. Oh, it's way worse. It's way worse, and I'll tell you why it's way worse, Russ. So Fort Leonard Wood comes in. Now, they come in, and we later found out that it was a batch of walking pneumonia going through the barracks, but I was the lucky one that got strep. I only got strep B. I didn't get A. If I had got strep A, I would have gotten a shot of penicillin, and I would have had quarters for 48 hours. That's how much they really worry about strep throat coming through the barracks, because it can kill very quickly. It could also damage your heart if you don't take care of it fast enough. So that's one that's contagious, and that was the one I got. Great. But I didn't know that yet, because if I had gone to sick call and they had put me on quarters or anything, I wouldn't be able to take this record PT test. Now, Fort Huachuca in Arizona is at 4,000 feet above sea level. It's not quite a mile high, but it's up there. So you're already gasping for air while you're running up there as it is. The track for this was 1 mile up. You get to where this intersection was, turn around, 1 mile back. Now, as you're going up toward it, it's a slight angle up. And from what I was told, it's a miracle that thing could pass for a record PT test. They're sure that it shouldn't have, but somehow they got that in. Well, on the way back, it's a slight downhill. Now, as I'm running on the way up, I am trying my hardest to keep going. And didn't want to stop, and I didn't stop. I actually kept running. The company XO, one of the lieutenant that was there, it was the second lieutenant, comes up, and he actually started pacing with me. He's like, you just got to keep going. I'm like, I am. I want to pass this. And I'm getting closer and closer to the end. Now, the end of this course is very deceptive because where you start is not where you finish. There's this cobblestone bridge that's there, and you start on one side of it, you end on the other side. And there's been a lot of people that have run the whole course, stopped right there, and didn't go through to the end and failed it because of that wasn't going to be my fate. I knew where I had to go. And I hear them yelling, sprint it out to the end. I've got nothing left. I can't breathe. I'm sick, and I know I am. I'm going to do my best. And I run through, and I run basically as hard as I can, which isn't much. Get through to the end, and I stop. And I'm just gasping for air. And I hear the senior drill sergeant yell to me, "You failed because you didn't have enough heart to sprint at the end." And I say to him under my breath, and he didn't hear this, "I'm 23, you idiot. I passed." I knew what time I had to pass in. I was at a different age bracket, and that moron didn't know it. So I'd already passed. Well, the company XO comes up to me. He's like, "Don't worry, Walker, you did good. You did good. You'll get it next time." And I'm like, "No, I passed it." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 23. He doesn't know that. I passed it." He's like, "Oh, good job." Later, I don't think it was that day. I think it was the next day. We're over at, oddly enough, the place was called Walker Hall. I'm not making this up. My last name followed me through the entire Army. That's not even close to a joke. When I was over at Fort Jackson, there was a Walker Hall there. When I was at over at Fort Huachuca, there was a Walker Hall there. When I got to Korea, there was a Camp Walker. It followed me. It followed me throughout the military. But he comes in there, he's like, "So, Walker, you got to pass that PT test next time?" I'm like, "But I did pass it, drill sergeant." He's like, "No, you didn't." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I'm 23. And he just gives me this dumb look like, oh, I should have known that. And he's like, "Oh, well, good job then." And I just walk on outside because I'm not going to tempt fate and just give him some smirk like, "Yeah, I'm smarter than you are, senior drill." Just walked outside. Is anybody still watching this? Because I'm seeing one person. I don't know if I'm just talking to myself right now. Hey, Jester, you still there? Or did you go to bed? Oh, yeah, he did. Wish he would have told me. Oh, well. He told me on Telegram, which I'm not looking at. And so, yeah. So I'm talking to you right now, Russ. This is kind of like a conversation, except I have a microphone and a camera, and you can only type back. So, I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. I was hoping that more people would show up, but they don't seem to like, anything I do. And it gets annoying. I mean, I wish people would take interest in what I'm doing, but I guess I'm just not that interesting. I really don't understand it. I wish I did. I wish I understood what people really want, but whenever I've asked, they don't tell me. I mean, I've asked people, "What do you want?" Well, it gets to me because if I'm not getting views and if I'm not getting subscribers and it's not growing, then it's like I'm doing this for nothing, and that to me is kind of like wasted effort. I don't want this to be wasted effort. I want people to actually get something out of it, and that's why I do it. I mean, I actually like being behind the camera. I actually like filming things. Used to do it in high school. In fact, I tried when I was this would have been senior year. My school finally had a cross country meet at our school. Now, I wasn't a cross country runner at this point. I stopped after freshman year. I had other things I wanted to do in sophomore and junior year. And senior year, I was already, doing other things. So I didn't want to do that year. But I was with the morning announcements news crew that we had, because we had our own media center and a morning announcements thing. And I wonder if it would be fun, because I had a camcorder and a tripod and a truck. I wonder if it would be anything interesting to try and film parts of the race and put a video together and try to figure this out. Now, I didn't know editing or anything else, and I did film. Actually, I shouldn't say I filmed. I was the driver. I had two of my friends from school with me helping. I had one of my buddies, a guy named James Cooper, he was the navigator, and he had the map of the course, and he sat in the front seat with me. Then I had my cameraman, a guy named Tom Gross, and he was in the pickup bed with the tripod and the camera. And it was a Ford F-150 with an extended bed. And he's in the back of this thing. And I decided to start going. And now, the best way to film most of this, you didn't want to run along the course because, some of the streets are blocked off. Plus, you didn't want to block any of the racers. So, you stay away from them. Well, there are fields. There are vacant lots between the two different points on the track. And did I slow down to go through those? No! Action team, assemble! Fly through these fields. And I can hear Tom in the back with the camera and everything bouncing along as I'm flying through these fields to try and get to the next spot. At the end of it, I was like, "You alright?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." It was fun. I had fun doing that. Let's see. Got the truck stuck once that year in the sand, going between two roads, just trying to off-road a two-wheel drive truck. It's fun. It was fun being in high school at the time, because I didn't care. I really didn't. Ooh, that's starting to hurt. Sorry. Well, I mean, it wasn't my truck. It was my dad's truck. I know you've never seen the guy, but he's bigger than I am, and especially at the time. I mean, you're talking a guy that probably at the time was about 230 and about 6'4", and a cop. So he's big. A lot bigger than I was at the time. I mean, senior year in high school, I was probably about... My license said 5'7", and I think I had finally reached it at that point. So I think I was 5'7" and maybe 120 pounds. No, actually, no, I did not get the short gene. That's the amazing part, was I actually hit my growth spurt after I got out of high school. And some people didn't even recognize me after high school because I was now 6 foot. I mean, my brother, the first time he saw me after, because when I was a sophomore, he joined the Army. And we saw him for Family Day and stuff, but then he went to Fort Carson out in Colorado. And when he did that, while he was out there, I mean, we went and I graduated high school and everything. And after that, it was like that last year, I started hitting my growth spurt and started to catch up in height. And we went to see him for his first wedding out there, his first marriage. And it's just justice of the peace over at some courthouse. But we go out there, and when we get off the plane and we go to visit him, And he says, geez, you told me he was bigger. You didn't tell me he could kick my ass. Which, could I do that to my brother? No, he was in the Army and I was not yet. So I couldn't do that. But by the time I joined the Army, I was taller than most of the people that were in my high school class. And I know this because I know how tall they were in high school. And they didn't grow any. Most of the ones that were taller than me, they stayed about the same height. So I didn't get the short gene. Matter of fact, I think I'm about the same height as my brother now. He might be 6'1". My dad's still a little bit taller, but it's close. It's always been close. So that's how it really worked. I mean, I didn't get the short end of the stick. It just took longer for some reason. So wanted to talk about something that's actually been kind of bugging me a little bit. And not really sure who best is going to even listen to this. Why is it that we cannot, as a society, have just a simple discussion anymore without it becoming something that turns into a full-blown argument? And I don't mean that, we have point counterpoint. Why is it that it has to turn into name calling or, just using buzzwords like calling someone a racist or something like that? Why can't it just be talking about the issues anymore? I'm really kind of getting very annoyed by the fact that if you say something wrong to the wrong person, they'll block you. I mean, I've seen people that, case in point, I'm pretty sure you know who I voted for, Russell. I mean, probably don't make it that hidden of who I probably voted for in the presidential election. But at the time, I was living in San Diego, and I had already quit working for Zero Energy, but I still kept up with one or two friends that I had worked with, coworkers there. One was this woman named Lisa, and she was actually originally from Texas. She was originally from Austin, but she was, well, let's just put it this way, she liked the ladies. Leave it at that. She was also hardcore vegan, was part of the whole, the Sea Shepherd organization, working as like a volunteer for them in California. When it came to all of the things that she was, it was like every card of, I'm a Democrat, I come from a blue state, I want to live in a blue state, all of this. Have no problem with. And even during the before the election, during the primaries and everything, she never had a problem with anything I was saying. And I told her, I said, I don't think I'm going to vote for this one, but I tell you, I can't vote for this person. And I'll tell you who that was. I couldn't vote for Hillary. I just can't. Has nothing to do with her being a woman. Absolutely not. That's the farthest thing from it. But she knew that long in advance. It wasn't like it was something hidden. She absolutely knew that I wasn't going to vote for Hillary. Well, I wasn't going to vote for a third party because I wanted my vote to actually count for something. Even though I was in California and I knew if I didn't vote for Hillary, it was going to be meaningless anyway. And by the way, even if you're in a state where you don't think your vote counts, still do it, because at least then you can throw in your 2 cents and say, hey, I at least voted for this. I did have my choice and it just didn't win. It happens. Guess what? Everybody picks a horse that doesn't win every time. That's how it works. That's how life works. You don't always win. So it's after the election, and I put out a Facebook post on my friends, telling them, hey, now that he's won, I think, I admitted who I voted for. I'm like, I voted for I voted for Donald Trump. And as soon as I said that, I had 2 people unfriend me. One on Facebook and one on Telegram. Actually, not Telegram, it was Skype, because I don't think I had Telegram just yet. It was on Skype. Someone blocked me. I could tell you who. Let's just put it this way. They have Penguin at as their last part of their name. So, Russ, you may know who that is. They actually unfriended me because of it and blocked me. All because of my choice in who I voted for? Sorry, I know a lot of people that voted for Barack Obama and I still talk to them. I knew a lot of people that voted for Hillary and I still talk to them. What does it matter? If we stop all communications with each other, what ends up happening is that the hate just grows. It doesn't build character. It doesn't help your one side. And it's not this whole thing of what they're now talking about, that it's a toxic relationship. It's not a toxic relationship if you're just discussing things. Friends do tell other friends things that they don't like. And I have another key point on that. There's one of our friends that just went through with something that I still am not accepting, you know? And Russ, you know who it is because they've posted on Twitter and everything else about it. I don't agree with their decision on it, and I never am going to. But I didn't stop being friends. They almost stopped being friends with me. And all because, what, I have to accept what you're saying? I don't have to accept it. I can tolerate it because I'm not out there going to try and destroy your life. In fact, I care about that person quite a bit. They're one of my best friends, and they're one of the longest standing friendships I've had. So why break off a friendship simply because of a disagreement like that? And they're small ones. It's not like I said I'm gonna hurt you, or I said, I could understand if someone comes out and goes, I am going to kill all of this type of people because I hate them all and I will never accept them. But if I say I don't agree with it, well, if everybody around you is saying yes, having one person that says no is not a bad thing. It breaks the echo chamber. And a lot of people get stuck in these echo chambers where they just listening to their own ideas back and forth, and there's never anything different. Well, having a difference of opinion can give you a different perspective on things. Being able to have an open mind allows dialogue to happen. If everybody agreed on everything, this would be a really boring planet, to be honest with you. I mean, if we all agreed, what would the point of sports be at that point? What would the point of competition be? If we all thought that yeah, he's going to win. Or, yeah, I'm going to win. You guys don't even need to race. What's the point of that? Or, why would we, we don't agree with anything. Having people try to agree on pizza toppings is a hard enough one. So, why stop all communications and stop friendships over small things like that? I don't know. That's all I've really got. Do you have anyone on here? I'm assuming it's probably still just you, Russ. Anyone got any questions? I hate having dead air, but, it is what it is. Yeah, but I've seen it from, the one person that I know from San Diego that blocked me.
They're older than I am. So I don't know what, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's a generational thing or not. And that's what bothers me, is that there are people that are just so completely closed-minded that they won't listen to any facts. Yeah, I agree. It's been said before, hey, you had a debate on the internet and if you said you won, well, did you change their mind? No. Well, did you really win? Yeah, you won, but you didn't change their mind. It didn't matter. Oh, well. I wish there were simpler answers, but that's all I got. Anyway, I'm going to be posting the link in the description. If you guys want to help out, if any of you that are watching this want to help out this channel, be sure to follow the links in the description. We actually have a new channel called the Truckonomics channel, and it's going to be more for how to help people. Basically what Truckonomics is going to be is all about different deals and stuff, how to help yourself out on the open road if you're a truck driver like myself. But if you're also with a limited budget, this may be able to help you there. One of the first reviews I did was on a working shoe called Brahmas, and it's a very good steel toe working shoe. Looks like a sneaker, feels like one, but it just has a steel toe. So that's a great little thing. Talk about, how to eat well on the road and not have to pay the prices of the truck stop and eat healthier. And that's one of the things we talk about. But we've also got, I'll put the link up in the description on that, and I'll also put up the link for where you can look on Amazon to get those Brahma shoes. And if you're thinking of getting anything on Amazon, click that link and go through that. That gives me credit on that, and you guys didn't have to pay me anything for it. If you actually did want to support this channel, just go to paypal.me/tdmedia, and if you would like to give some monetary support to this channel, it would be appreciated. It would help us get some better equipment. I'm in the process of trying to get myself a better camera, and I want to get a shotgun mic so I don't have this cable limiting me on how far I can do this and give you guys a better picture and everything on this. But anyway, for right now, this is it. I thank you all for watching. This has been another episode of What the Truck. I will see you next episode. Have a good night, Russ.